What up, y'all? This is Eric Washington signing in live and uncut. And I just got a question. Where's the fine line between remembering someone for their past mistakes and honoring their memory? Because, and I ask this because I recently heard XXX Tentacion's Moonlight on one of my shuffles, and while listening to it, I was like, man, like, this dude had some talent, and I can understand where people were really into this guy and were fans and willing to see him change. And they were willing to see him change or want to watch him change. And I'll be the first to say, when he passed, I was one of the people who was very upset that he lost his life due to gun violence. That it was another black man. But at the same time, I was considering his past actions, his stances on things like Black Lives Matter, things like that. And so I was very much in the pool of people who were not caping for him. And I mean that with all generosity. I was one of the people not caping for him, and I mean that with all generosity and respect. But, you know, recently it kind of just hit me, and I was just thinking, like, man, like, so serious question to everybody who's listening, like, what is the fine line between remembering someone for who they were or who they were going to be, or the positive things about them, or their past actions that maybe hurt someone or hurt a community, or, you know. And I'm in no way caping for these people. I think things that I think there are actions that XXX Tentacion did, R. Kelly. Think of any celebrity that's harmed people, harmed the community. I think their actions were deplorable, and I think they should answer for that. And I think there should be consequences for that. But I hear it even now in responses to R. Kelly. And I'm one of the people who, honestly, like, he's a monster. He's a terrible human being. He should answer for all those things that he did. But there are people that still cape for him because they have this memory of who they think he was as a person, or what memories he gave them. So where does that fine line go? Because there are people who loved XXX Tentacion. There are people who loved R. Kelly. There are people who are there are gonna be people who are terrible people, or at the very least will have done terrible things to people, but they're still fathers, sons, brothers, whatever. So where's that fine line between remembering someone for their mistakes, I don't even say mistakes, for their terrible, deplorable actions, and remembering them for their positive things in death? So what's the fine line? Disclaimer, I don't have the answer. Disclaimer, I'm not caping for XXX Tentacion, R. Kelly, people who've made deplorable actions publicly, or what has come to light publicly, not caping for them. What rather this video is trying to say is rather remind people that you will be remembered. And I'm not going to sit here and do a cliche, live your best life, go get it, go for it, you are your choices, you are decisions. All that's true, all that's not the point. The point is you will be remembered for what it is you do. And so what will you be remembered for? What do you want to be remembered for? Do you want to be remembered as someone who committed deplorable actions against communities, against people, against women, against whoever? Or do you want to be remembered for something positive? We've all made we've all made mistakes, but the question is, what do you want to be remembered for? And this is not, keep in mind, this is not a career memoir. This is not a career talk. This is not a chase your dreams. This is a literal, like, even if you were just a day-to-day person, or if you are chasing big dreams, what do you want to be remembered for as a person? Not your career, not your philanthropy, not your whatever, not your leadership, not your education. What do you want to be remembered for as a person? Whether or not you have a political or a public platform, do you want to be remembered as someone who people will look at and admire and be inspired by when you're gone? Or do you want to be remembered as someone who essentially people hate and will talk down on, even in your death? And I know that there are tons of people who are like, don't talk down on the dead. But at the same time, honestly, at the same time, if you did horrible things, if you did deplorable, and I know I'm using that word a lot, if you just did horrible, terrible things, you're going to be remembered for that. Especially if you did them continuously and over again, and especially if you showed no remorse, you're going to be remembered for that. And life is short, and I'm realizing that in 25 years of age, not because I've dealt with death. I've dealt with a few close calls, but not because I've dealt with death personally. But I'm just realizing that, man, time goes by fast and life is short. And I haven't done anything great yet, and I'm working towards that. But at the same time, day by day goes by, 24 hours in a day, 365 days a year, 7 days a week. You're remembered for every action you do. And I think people tend to forget that and put that by the wayside when you're just going on day-to-day life, trying to make ends meet, trying to pay bills. But you will be remembered for what you do. So think twice before you put your hands on your significant other. Think twice before you coerce a woman into your bedroom. Think twice before you publicly say you support one thing and you denounce another thing. Like, think twice, think three, think 4 times, because you will be remembered, honestly, more so for your negative actions than you ever will be for your positive actions. Very, very rarely will anyone be remembered for their positive actions up until their death. And even then, people are going to remember the bad. So I'm not going to belabor the point. Y'all get the gist. Y'all are smart people. How do you want to be remembered? What are you going to do about it? Last thing. I thought I was done. Last thing. You're going to be remembered. Like I said, right before I signed off, you're going to be remembered for it. You're going to have to answer for your actions. What is done in the dark comes to the light. And that's both positive and negative. If you're doing great things when nobody's watching, what's done in the dark, that's going to come to light. If you're doing horrible, horrendous actions to people in the dark, that's going to come to light. You're going to answer for all of your actions. And even if you don't answer for it because either you died or you keep trying to run from it, the world will answer for you, and that's how you're going to be remembered. Don't really know how I came on this conversation, but I had to let it out. I had to vent, get it off my chest. I don't know what this means for you. I don't know what it means for me. But understand, when you die, and you will die, you will be remembered for something. You may be remembered for numerous. You will be remembered for numerous things. And they're either gonna taint your memory, or they're going to uplift your memory. Regardless of how debatable your actions were. People debate all the time. Twitter is a battleground of the memory of XXXTentacion. People uplift his memory. People denounce his memory. But you, as a regular person who's not famous or who does not have the public eye, you are still going to face those battlefields between people who want to denounce your memory and uplift it. So how are you going to live your life knowing that when you die, other people are in control of your memory? How are you going to live through that? How are you going to live your life? What are you going to do about it? I think it's important. I think it's important to talk about. I think it's important to acknowledge.